The second summer league has begun in Utah. James and I will break down the rosters and pinpoint veterans and rookies to watch in the Utah Summer League. What's up? My name is Richard Stayman. You might know me better as Mavs Draft. I do NBA Draft scouting reports, mock drafts on my Substack, mavsdraft.substack.com. I'm joined by James Barlowe, who continues to impress with just how much he knows about the game inside and out. And from what I hear, he's also a hooper like his brother Rafael. If you're new, drop him a follow. I think his handles refresh my memory. James, what's your handle?
Junkie James.
Yep. Yeah, Draft Junkie James. So give him a follow on socials. He's really good at what he does. Isn't afraid to speak his mind on what he thinks, whether or not it goes with the consensus. And that's why I like working with him. Well, today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs have wound down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, we appreciate everybody who continues to make Locked On NBA Big Board the first listen of your day. Let's dive into the Summer League. We're going to break down the Utah Summer League. There are 4 teams playing in this. So it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Memphis Grizzlies, and, of course, the Utah Jazz. Now, fair warning, we are recording this exactly in between the Thunder game and the Thunder Sixers and the Grizzlies Jazz game. So we're going to review that and then just preview what we see on the Grizzlies Jazz roster. So let's talk about the game that just happened. The Sixers won 102-92, just some standout box scores. Adam Flagler from Baylor had 18 points. Keontae Johnson had 12. Ousmane Dieng had 10. AJ Mitchell had 14. They all had sprinkled in some rebounds and assists there. Ricky Council had 29 points on 50% shooting and 8 rebounds. Jeff Dowden had 15 points. Jared McCain had 15 and 6 on 15 shots. And Keve Aluma went 12 and 8 with 2 assists on perfect 5 and 5 shooting. So those are like the standout box scores. What did you like in this game? What stood out to you, James?
So it's interesting. The California Summer League, the rookies didn't look good, didn't impress. And, it's Summer League. I get it. Overreact, react, however maybe you want to. But Jared McCain looked good. He didn't shoot the ball well, but he showed you he could handle the basketball. And I had mentioned that is something that I wanted to see from him because he shared the ball a lot at Duke because they had 2 other smaller guards that he had to share the ball with, and he played a lot off the ball. He handled the ball a lot. Is he a point guard? No, but it doesn't matter because he's going to play off the ball in Philadelphia, especially with those guys. But in the pitch, it looks like and Nick Nurse isn't afraid to do it, but you can play him and Maxey together because Jerry McCain can handle. He showed good change of pace. He threw a live ball lob to a Dembona. He dunked on somebody. So McCain looked good. He didn't shoot the ball well from 3, but that's not something that you expect from him. So he was getting to the basket and he was finishing. And to me, that's a positive sign. So, those are the things that I would like to see from guys in the Summer League. And I'm going to just go through really quick the Sixers lineup. Dembona had 7-7, and he was everywhere. He had a lot of energy. I heard him cussing on the live feed, and they were trying to mute him out. Just look at him play. Sidebar, man. I would pay extra for a hot mic during League Pass. I want to hear all the trash talk. Just make it TVMA. Look, I'll put my daughter to sleep. She didn't have to watch that telecast. I promise you, I would watch it and I would pay the premium. He looked good. For rookies, older guys, veterans, I guess you could say. Ricky Council had 15 in the fourth quarter. He's an athlete. He gets downhill. His jump shot looks funny, but he made 5 threes tonight. It'll be interesting to see if he can crack that lineup. Crack that rotation in Philadelphia. Again, they're in win now mode, and his best asset is driving. So I don't know how that's going to work for him. Rookie that didn't look good. He looked like he just looked like what he was doing at Kentucky. Unfortunately, it was Justin Edwards. He was just out there and he couldn't catch a rhythm. It's Summer League. It happens.
Like he went 0 of 2 in 18 minutes, had 0 points, 1 rebound, which was a defensive rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. That was his entire on 0 of 2 shooting. That was his entire stat line in 18 minutes. It was bad.
Yeah, and that was the bad that you did see from him at Kentucky. So I imagine tomorrow's slate of games you won't see. You'll see a Ricky Council, maybe you'll see a McCain if these teams keep up with the trends that the teams in California did, which was play guys and then give other guys a look the second night. So we'll see. Again, I'm not right. Justin Edwards off. He wasn't good today, and it's just point blank. Period. As far as Oklahoma City goes, AJ Mitchell, he did what you thought he would do, which was a little bit of everything. He got to the basket, he hit open threes, like he can really play. I wish he didn't play for Oklahoma City because I think he could crack a rotation spot for a team. I don't think he's going to crack that rotation because they just have way too many guards, unfortunately. Another rookie, Dylan Jones, he almost had a triple-double, which is crazy, but he can't really shoot. So that is why I didn't understand the pick. I understand he does a lot of good things. Oklahoma City drafts whoever they want to draft. They don't care about me or anybody's mocks. But he was 1 for 5 from 3, and that's going to be his biggest issue. What does it look like for him in a drill down role? Does he crack that rotation? As far as second-year guys or sophomores or veterans, Ousmane Deng does a lot. He can handle the ball, doesn't get to the rim, and he can't shoot. So I get the upside, but again, how does he crack that rotation in Oklahoma City, which is in win now mode? I don't know.
Yeah, let's just talk about the veterans here real fast. Ousmane Dieng went 3 of 14. He had 10 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers. So even like the volume counting stats, like the 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals sounds good. But he made 3 shots. Like to me right now, he's somebody who a couple of those turnovers were just sloppy handle. He couldn't drive past contact. Like I worry with him that he's not going to be able to get to the rim at a high level. And this isn't, I'm not trying to make this like an overreaction to tonight, but this kind of just, I said it on Monday's episode. If you didn't see that, check it out. But like what we do, we're analyzing it, slightly reacting, but there's a big difference between actual reactions and actual analysis. And we're trying to do the analysis stuff. And one of the things with Dieng is just like, if he can't do it here, he has to prove himself. I think they play tomorrow again. Yeah, they play Utah tomorrow. He has to prove himself as a guy who he can do that when you're 6'8", 6'9", and you can't get to the rim super easily. That's worrisome. And then also, like you said, he's just not a shooter. And I just don't know what you do at that point. Like even the 5 assists sounds cool, but he had 3 turnovers. So it's still not that glowing.
And in the big leagues, I guess the NBA, he's not going to have the usage to like clean up the stat line that he had. Because again, if you ignore, like he does some good things, don't get me wrong, but you know, is he going to get the opportunity? And this is why it's the same thing, literally what I questioned about the Dylan Jones draft pick. Not Dylan Jones the player, but the fit. Like, are these guys going to get the opportunity to handle the ball, to field the ball, to do these things that they do well on a team that is stacked with talent and a high usage guard in Shai Gilgeous, and then an emerging high usage wing in Jalen Williams? And then you got to think Chet's going to be more than just a pop guy next year. So it's like, how do these guys fit? And neither of them shot the ball well. Like Jang couldn't hit a 15-foot jump shot. Like they were wide open. Philly played a lot of zone, and he just couldn't shoot. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out for them.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he just looked rushed. Like every single thing, he like panicked. He would try and create, and it felt like it was a ticking time bomb where he was like, oh crap, 3, 2, 1, and had to do something where it just didn't seem organic. I'm not really big on what he did. It is funny. If you search Ousmane Dieng, like every tweet is one person is going like, oh, this is terrible, it's really bad. And then the next person say, hey, I like what he's showing. Like it is literally alternating. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I like doing that with some of the summer league guys. A couple other veterans on here that you might know. If you're an absolute sicko, you remember Kyler Kelly 4 years ago, rim runner. He's back in this for the Sixers. Jeff Dowden's been in and out of
He's 27.
He is as much of that like when you think of a fringe NBA player, that is Jeff Dowden. Like he is so close, and he's kind of the example of why it's so hard to make the NBA. Like he is good, but he's not that good to be on an NBA team. But he's also too good for the G League. Like he's just in such a weird window. I think it's crazy, and I really am rooting for the guy to get over that hump. RJ Hampton, also from 2020 drafts, but he's had a lot more NBA experience than Kyler Kelly had. 14 minutes. And I just want to add one thing here. Like you said, these guys don't have a margin for error. So when you're messing up in summer league, and like this is going back to Ousmane Dieng, and then we'll move on to some of the other rosters. But going back to Ousmane Dieng, like it's tough. You don't get a chance to redeem yourself. If you had, for example, he had one where he tried doing, I think it was a behind the back right and then going left, and it said he just fell on his face. You might get pulled for that. For him in summer league, he got like 7 more tries before any kind of pressure was felt on him. So that's that kind of difference of summer league and where the NBA is. And with that, we're going to preview some of the other rosters that were not in this Sixers and Thunder game. But first, let's talk about BetterHelp. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially as somebody who's unbiased in your life. For example, I can tell you how I truly feel about this Utah Summer League, right? But sometimes that's not that all that's on someone's mind, and you need an unbiased audience as well. Therapy can be different, for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports teams, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Are you watching ESPN and Fox News on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all the shouting over there? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 streaming sports channel program for your everyday to bring you the biggest sports stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and the news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, second segment, let's talk about some of these teams that did not play, and that is the Utah Jazz and the Memphis Grizzlies. We'll probably break these up one by one, but the Utah Jazz have an interesting roster. I don't know if you've looked at this.
Yeah, I have.
Walker Kessler is playing in summer league, and I want to say, like, I think he is not actually going to play, one, in Vegas, two, a second game, because he is quite literally the very best player in summer league. So
here's my question: what are you trying to see from Walker Kessler in this setting?
I don't think it's anything actual like business. I really do think it is partially, hey, get fans like, hey, there's a real NBA player here. It's like when you're rehabbing somebody in baseball in the minor leagues and you get like a AA random thing, and then like, hey, superstar like Mike Trout, if he's rehabbing, right? You're like, hey, you have to see Mike Trout for super cheap, come see him. I think that's part of it. But the other thing too is probably just like he'll probably work on his jumper. That's it. That is the only basketball thing I can truly think of.
But like as a fan, I'm a fan of the game. I'm not a Utah Jazz fan. I leave that to Leif. No disrespect to the Jazz fans. But there's nothing that Walker Kessler does that I want to see on a Monday night in July is what I'm trying to say. Like, he's
not like a flashy player.
Exactly. Like he's not going to come back and show me a handle that we thought he had. Like we got Keontae. He's going to play tonight, right? Like put Keontae out there. I just don't understand what's the point of playing him. And it's crazy because this time last year, he was wasn't he playing for Team USA FIBA?
Yeah.
And to be playing in the summer league, I don't get the logic behind it. I doubt he plays more than 20 minutes. I mean, maybe he's just
the entire summer.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think sometimes guys like I remember this one's not going to be a good use case, like reference point, but I remember in 2022, the Magic were like, hey, RJ, you don't need to, and it's funny, full circle here, but RJ Hampton, they told him that you don't need to stop playing summer league. And he goes, no, I want to be out there. I want to do it. And it was all his call. And they're like, okay, cool. We applaud it, like getting more reps. And he was actually really bad. But that was kind of besides the point. The thing is, like, sometimes these players get the final say. Like, at the end of the day, it is their body. It's the same way as, like, a team can't tell them to not play in the Olympics. So maybe it's kind of the same thing. Like they are under contract for that team, that some guys just feel obligated. They want to go out there, at least see what they can do. But that roster is really fun, though. I mean, Keontae George, they have Isaiah Collier, they have Taylor Hendricks. I think that's going to be the most fun player to watch in this. But like just going down this list, like I'll keep doing the veterans here. Bryce Sensabaugh, but then it goes Kenneth Lofton Jr.
He's the best. He might be the best player there. Actually.
And then listen to the like just fun names on this. You have the picks, obviously Cody Williams, Filipowski, Collier. You have Darius Baisley, who is also an NBA veteran at this point in year 5. You have Armando Bacot. You have Max Amos.
Armando Bacot feels like he's an NBA veteran, man.
Yeah. He milked NIL in that extra year. Tavion Kinsey.
Tavion Kinsey can play.
Yeah, Kinsey is interesting. I was very out on him because of his defense, but man, can he play offense. I think he's probably peaks as like a two-way guy, but once he gets past that, like he's going to kill it in Europe. Like he is very, very skilled on the offensive end. I like him, but that team, I think across summer league, that might be the best team. And like again, if you're familiar like with some of these deep cuts, like Jason Preston, Tavion Kinsey,
you got Jason Preston.
I mean, dude. Well, here's my thing though. It's like you have 4 guys who are playing point guard. Collier, Amos might not even play point guard to be honest, but
he should.
Keontae George, and then you have Jason Preston. Also, they have Josh Pierre-Louis too, who is, if I'm not mistaken, he's a rookie who was a teammate. Was he a rookie?
Barber. He's at Cal Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I think he was a teammate of AJ Mitchell. So like they have a stacked team.
And they got Kyle Filipowski in the second round. And he, like, how many minutes does he play tonight? With Kessler's gonna play.
Depends on Walker.
Right.
Do you think
Kenneth Lofton's gonna play?
Yeah. Do you think he plays any minutes at the 5? That's my question.
I think you have to play him at the 5.
I think so too. Because it's Bacot and I think you might have to put Lofton at the 4. Or are you interchangeable? I think you're interchangeable if they're out there together. Actually, no, this is it. They have Taylor Hendricks. He'll probably play the 5 because he can actually protect the rim a little bit better than Filipowski and Lofton. It'll be fun to see what they do. Obviously, by the time you've listened to this, it has already happened. And, if we look either really stupid or really smart, and hopefully it's the latter. But I am really excited for this team, though. Like, just going back to one of the veterans, there are 2 guys, actually. Taylor Hendricks and Bryce Sensabaugh, 2 first-round picks of theirs last year. If you didn't watch Bryce, that man got buckets in the G League. And, like, a lot of people did.
He's about to go get some buckets here in a minute, too.
He is. He 100%
for a roster spot.
I think he's on the roster, but he's going for those rotation minutes, though, like where he's trying to make it where, say, the Jazz do trade Lowry Markkanen and they're fully invested in this tank race for Cooper Flag. He's going to make sure that he is in the Jazz's front of mind and say, hey, maybe we can squeeze him in as 10th, 11th man. And then see what happens, because he is super talented with the ball in his hands. Problem is he's just not much of a playmaker or defender.
Yeah, man. We didn't even really talk about Cody Williams, their 10th pick.
Let's talk about him.
Yeah, what do you expect to see from him tonight? Because like this is a perfect opportunity for him to just kind of like float and be out there, because that team is so talented. Yep. And I don't know what to expect from him, because like the team is talented, and it just depends. He'll look better if they play him on the second night, I think, just because they have so many guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he'll be better than Justin Edwards, which is a very low bar. That's not going to happen where he just kind of blends in. Like, and that came off very rude. I hear how that sounded now, but like. It was just like he's not going to go over 2 with 0 points and 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Like that's not going to happen. I think he'll have a lot of chances. My question is, how do you even spread the usage around?
They started, so they're starting Keontae, Bryce, Cody, Hendricks, and Walker Kessler right now.
Okay, that's actually I like that for Cody, because that's actually a lot more touches in that unit than if he was playing with. And some of these guys won't even play tonight, which mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Amos plays that helps him a lot, but Baisley's going to play, Preston's going to play, Lofton's going to play, and like all I think Lofton especially is going to get a lot of touches.
Oh, it just hit me. Okay. They're probably playing Kessler to guard Zach Edey tonight.
Oh my God.
That's the only reason.
It took us, we've been talking about this 7 minutes and we just did it. I never even, well, that's a perfect, James, that is what we call a perfect segue. We're going to talk about the Grizzlies roster in just a minute, but first let's talk about FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much. I don't want them to stop, but as the playoffs have finished and the draft is past us, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head to FanDuel.com to start making the most of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, so after that absolutely majestic segue from James, let's talk about the Grizzlies roster. I mean, they have
Zach Edey. A lot of dudes too.
What was that?
They got a lot of dudes too.
They do, and you know what? It's a revenge game for Kenneth Lofton. He is going back. And I think Gigi's out there still.
Yeah.
Trey Jemison is out there. He's somebody that both those guys had really good rookie years.
Jake LaRavia's out there.
I think
they started.
Kevon Harris. I didn't even realize he's out there.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is a squad.
Right.
They got, I'm just going to go one by one. So Jalen Wells, we liked him. I think both of us liked him, if I'm not mistaken, out of Washington State. He's a rookie. Scottie Pippen Jr. is somebody I've been just a massive fan of. I think he's killed it in the G League. His time is coming for a full NBA roster spot. Jake LaRavia, former first-round pick. Timmy Allen, I'm getting this all confused now, but I think he was at Texas. I get him and Trey Mitchell confused all the time. But DJ Jeffries from Mississippi State, he's out there. Isaiah Miller, who is a fantastic. I got to get these guys straight because there's so many different names. But Isaiah Miller, he's a small guard, but a pesky one. Kevon Harris, former Magic guard, he also super pesky. Zach Edey, you might have heard of him. Cam Spencer, elite shooter. I actually don't know anything about Kyle Castlin. Freddie Gillespie, I'm shocked to see him back here, but he was really fun at Baylor in 2019, 2020, I think. And then Gigi Jackson, Trey Jemison, and then Dejon Giroux, who, if you haven't seen him, lights out defender. So that was a mouthful by me. Let's talk about some of these guys. I'll let you kick off who we started with.
So it's funny. I have the game on, and Zach Edey blocks Keontae George layup.
I thought you were going to say Kessler, and I was like, no. I was about to explode.
And then Kessler, he blocks a Zach Edey on the short roll. So I guess it makes sense for him to play in that situation. I guess you can get your defensive confidence up. I don't know how that. It's still a weird situation to me. But like this Grizzlies team is strange because like Gigi Jackson probably shouldn't be out there, but he's
young enough. He needs reps.
He needs it, but like, okay, my thing is, are they going to put him out there to work on what he needs to work on? Like me personally, I would say, Gigi, I need you to play point guard because we need to see if you can make plays. Because I was telling Rich, like, if he becomes a playmaking wing and not just a scoring wing, you have a potential like all-star talent because like he's really like that good at 6'9" with his scoring ability and his ability to put the ball on the ground. But again, it just kind of looks like even just from like watching a little bit now, he's just doing this thing, playing normal with Gigi. Well, that's not a bad thing because he's still like 19 years old. But yeah, man, this Grizzlies team has a lot of guys, man, and it's crazy. Like this is like the Jazz rotation versus like, you know, last year's Grizzlies team minus Zach Edey. So, but as far as like who's going to crack rotations, it'll be interesting to see how it works with Gigi's development. Vince, what's his last name? Is it Williams? I always want to.
Yeah,
Vince Williams.
Yeah, and he's not playing
small forward
for anybody.
He played well for them last year. They still got LaRavia still trying to figure that out. So Like, Memphis has a lot of wings. They drafted Jalen Williams. I don't see him cracking the rotation. They got Zaire Williams still on the roster. Not a big fan of his personally, but yeah, Memphis has a lot of wings, and it'd be interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, I also just a little update. It's been 3 minutes. Keontae George has taken 5 shots. Taylor Hendricks has taken the other 2.
He does not plan on being out there for too long.
I think his hope is, look, every year, one of my favorite things about Summer League is finding the guys who are too good for Summer League. Obviously, Walker Kessler is too good for Summer League. Like, there's a range when you're an NBA player where it's a fine line to walk when you're in your first or second year going into your second or third year, where especially the second to third year guys, just some guys in the past I can remember were like Aaron Gordon in I think that'd be 2016. After his second year, he played 2 games and stopped. Like, he dominated. And it's like, okay, you're getting absolutely nothing by being here. It's cool that you're getting like some stuff you won't do in NBA games, like shooting and playing point guard.
Mm-hmm. But you see it helps him out now, because when Minnesota was like, we're picking up Jokic full court, picking up Murray full court, he was like the initiator of the offense, because he can do some things. So, I mean, it ended up working out for him, because, like, let's go out there and get you some confidence. And like I said, that's what I would like to see from Gigi, because, again, if he can mix in the playmaking with his scoring ability, like, you really, really have something there.
Yeah, and not to make it locked on Aaron Gordon, but I loved him in Orlando. Like, if you don't know, I'm from Orlando, so I grew up a Magic fan too. So I watched Aaron Gordon's development, and yeah, his playmaking was really fun. There were stretches where he could shoot, and he showed that stuff in Summer League. And a lot of that, I do think getting those reps is really helpful, because, like you said, what happens when you're the one who's getting pressured full court? Can you win? And, sometimes seeing how you run a pick and roll isn't necessarily a 1-to-1, but it is something helpful where you can say, all right, if you can run a pick and roll, like, the most basic thing should be bring the ball up, right? Like, it's such a basic elementary thing. But yeah, I'm excited with this game though. I really do think, I wish I could be watching right now. The Bryce Sensabaugh's only thing he's done is grab an offensive rebound, but it seems like since I last updated with you on Keontae George, he's taken another shot. and like, I'm very interested just to see what this looks like, because it feels like this is the big thing with Summer League, right? Is everybody is out for themselves. This is not a thing where you're like, hey, I'm not trying to get too much. I want to win. Like, no, nobody cares about winning until like a very, very specific moment in the Vegas Summer League, where you're actually at the title and you're like, okay, maybe like it would be cool to get a championship in any capacity. It's not like it's going to hang from the rafters, but it is something cool, I think. But before that, it's just, look, man, everybody's out there for themselves. You don't know if Taylor Hendricks will be on that roster next year if you're Keontae George. Like, the NBA is a very cutthroat business. Like, Isaiah Thomas is the best example.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. You got to look out for yourself.
You don't know how good Isaiah Collier is,
Yeah.
He may be the guy that people thought he was. So, and, halfway watching, like, Keontae's not taking bad shots. He's being aggressive. Maybe he's like, you know what? I want to play the 2, or I'm getting ready for when you guys do decide to trade Lowry. Like, hey, it's going to be my show. But yeah, these 2 teams, like, I mean, they're getting after it. And before we go, like, let me give a shout out to, he's going to look good day 2, Judah Mintz. In the little bit that he did play, he got to the basket, which he's known for. He played good defense, and he did make a couple plays. And I don't know the whole story, but I would like to think that he went undrafted by choice and maybe picked his destination. But he is somebody that I think that he could benefit from the situation. I don't know the details of his contract, but if something happens, he is somebody to look out for, because he's not a box score guy, right? As far as like, he's not an advanced box score guy. He'll fill the stat sheet up, and like, you like his aggressiveness, and then like in the right situation, I could see him like making a team. And just because he's really, really aggressive, and like the NBA favors aggressive guards, and as long as his efficiency is just good enough, because he does get to the foul line to make up for like the jump shot that is hit or miss, I think he has an opportunity to make a name for himself in this situation. He really didn't get to play a lot this first game for the Sixers, but again, it's a long summer league, and I think that with the right minutes, he can show something for himself.
Hey, good shout out. I like Judemans, I think, more than the consensus. I still had him as like a solid two-way.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I get it. I get the concerns, right? He's a little bit turnover prone, not the best decision maker. That is a big red flag. Fine, I hear that. I think a lot of people don't like him partially because I mean, like, to be honest, he's a 2003, 2008, like somewhere in that window guard. Yeah, he gets assists. They're flashy. He sometimes misses the basic ones, which I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where the decision making, like, that is something he has to improve. It is cool where he's making those like quick no look and like underhand passes through traffic. It's neat, but that's 1 in 3, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
that's not something you, like we talked about earlier. Your leash is very short in these situations. In college, where you're playing almost every minute, like Judeman's played a ton of minutes in the last 2 years. I think he has to just figure out how he can be effective and simple. Just make his game more simple. My big thing is a lot of people don't like him because of his jump shot, and I think that's a very weak reason actually not to like him. I don't dislike his mid range game. I think he has a lot of moves. He has good touch. It's really once he stepped out to the 3-point line, just a lot of stuff fell apart. But
Mm-hmm.
also his free throw percentage is very, I think, respectable. 75% last year on 6 attempts a game, 8 attempts a game this year, 76.5 from the line. Like, he can get to the rim, can get to the line, puts pressure on the rim and puts pressure on defenses, has a killer rip through, has like those advanced like veteran moves to draw
Mm-hmm.
fouls. And I think, and same with Scottie Pippen, by the way, like those are two guys who they'll be facing off tomorrow, right? Is that what I said? They
Yes.
face off tomorrow. Yeah. So I think that is something where it's like they, yeah, I feel like he is somebody that definitely has a path. It's up to him to become a simple man. I'm blanking on words, but just making his game more simple.
Yeah, yeah. He's just gonna have to figure it out. You asked what position does Kyle Filipowski play tonight? He is playing the 4 next to Walker Kessler out there. He's basically, they got Kessler playing the dunker, and he's at the top of the key. So that was
Not
probably
bad.
expected.
Not bad.
Yeah. So,
Well, this has been fun. We talked about the Jazz Summer League, the very OP Jazz Summer League, the Thunder Summer League roster, the Grizzlies Summer League roster, and the Sixers, as well as Sixers Thunder. For James Barlowe, I'm Richard Stayman, and we are out.